Welcome to another edition of the Inside Indiana Report. I'm Ed Magoni. This is Zach Osterman. We just finished up Monday's press conference with the defensive players and staff, as well as Coach Wilson. And Zach, Coach Wilson said that the players seem to be recovering pretty well from their stint of 2 days there, and as they prepare for game week. Just some of what he said at the press conference?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing, it seemed like one of the big things on the coach's mind that wasn't, maybe specific, but was more general toward the end of last week was that they wanted to have a physical camp, that they felt like they'd had a good physical camp, a tough camp, a lot of hitting, really kind of done a lot of the fundamental things and really had a good physical camp. But they were, I think, a little bit concerned with how their team would recover over a couple days off between camp and the first game week, which is obviously now what we're in with Ball State. And it sounds like they're pleased with it. It sounds like they feel like everyone, I think Kevin Wilson talked at the scrimmage about how last week about how they were going to challenge the players to, here are the tools to get healthy, make sure you're at your cold tubs, make sure you stretch, make sure you eat right, make sure you sleep right. And it sounds like, from what they've seen anyway, guys were fresh today. They were crisp. Kevin Wilson talked about, the word he used was polish. There were guys out there who maybe were making some mistakes doing certain things at the end of camp, and then they went back today and they were doing them a lot better. Everything was, like I said, it was more crisp and it wasn't so sloppy. So it seems like that was a point of emphasis that the team kind of came through on. And something also, one of those things that it seems like Kevin Wilson has throughout the last few months kind of drop these little carrots that that the team needs to pick up. The team needs to lead off-season workouts. The team needs to be the ones organizing voluntary drills and positional things and things like that. And it seems like it's another one of those that he felt like the players. When I say the team, I mean the players. The players did well. That they kind of took the responsibility themselves and did what they needed to do. And so now move on to Ball State.
Not everyone survived the training camp healthy, obviously. The Hoosiers are probably going to be against Ball State without two of their better offensive weapons in the passing game. Ted Bolser and Luis Wilson's status is kind of up in the air for this coming Saturday. Any kind of information you can glean on that?
Yeah, I mean, neither one of them's in the two deep that was released today. You can read it at InsideIndiana.com. It sounds like both are fairly healthy. I think that was kind of the impression I got from Kevin Wilson today. But just that they've missed so much time and they've missed, they kind of, he talked about needing to earn your position back and nobody is owed anything. And, it's not fair to just say, well, you're healthy now, so here you go. And two, also just in terms, I think this was especially for Bolser, who I think we saw, I think it was suggested he kind of had a longer layoff. They need the time to kind of catch up physically and mentally in terms of, all the things that they missed, the installation and schemes and, the refinement of different techniques and, the sort of coaching of how does Kevin Wilson want tight ends to play in his offense versus what Ted Bolster's used to, things like that. I think that's where, maybe they're fairly healthy. They're just not quite ready to be on the field yet. But those are two positions that Indiana's blessed with some depth in. I mean, Jake Reed only moved back to tight end a week and a half ago to help with depth. And he's already in the two deep. He's a true freshman. He's already in the two deep. Obviously, Max Dedman is a seasoned veteran, has done some good things throughout his career. And then if you look at the wide receiver position, I mean, you've got, DeMarlo Belcher, Kofi Hughes, Dre Muhammad is a fine first unit. And then, I think we've seen some really good things from all three freshmen who are the three guys at the next layer of the two deep.
The passing game should be relatively unaffected by the missed time by Ted Bolser and Luis Wilson. However, the quarterback could have a significant effect on the passing game. We know a lot of fans are interested in that. So here's Coach Wilson's latest update on that situation.
Even if a guy goes at the first, we'll see if he stays the starter. Because again, I don't know if anyone's had the support or played well enough to clearly separate. You get into game situations, maybe things go something like that. We're not going to be looking over shoulder at one bad pass, but again, right now we're just going to just kind of let it keep going a little bit. We'll see. And we might have to go up first. That means maybe the starter. Just might be based on what we've seen short term. That guy's taking care of the ball the best, giving us the best chance to win. I don't see a huge separation with all three of the guys we're going with right now. So, we got work to do on it, and at the same time, I don't want it where one guy goes out and makes a mistake, he's done. These guys have played so little, they all have a chance, they're all doing reasonably well. Get in a game setting, maybe a guy takes off, maybe doesn't. I don't see it being a revolving door, but I don't have a clear picture yet.
Zach, you just heard what Coach Wilson had to say. What is your take on the situation with the quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, the depth chart says Ed Wright-Baker or Dusty Keel. So I think at this point, I think we all kind of knew after the scrimmage on Thursday when we saw Wright-Baker and Dusty Keel trading first-team snaps and Trey Roberson working with that kind of amalgamation of a second and third team unit, that it was down to those two guys. Kevin Wilson, I think he's still just not quite comfortable naming a starter yet. We talked to Rod Smith after the scrimmage last week, the quarterback's coach, co-offensive coordinator. He said, hold your breath. I think we're making a little bit of progress, but it just doesn't sound like, even then and all the way up till now, it doesn't sound like the staff is comfortable with one guy over the other, Wright-Baker or Keel. I think we've seen both improve as the summer's gone on. At least that's sort of what I've seen. And Kevin Wilson, you heard him there. He kind of talked about, just because the guy that goes out there first isn't necessarily the starter. Well, does that mean he's going to play two quarterbacks? It's hard to say. He's kind of come back slowly on his Big Ten Media Day assertion that there wouldn't be a two quarterback system. But it's still not something that he's ever seemed that comfortable with. It's not something that he's ever really seemed eager to pursue. So I think the ideal situation is for one to establish himself over the other. But it sounds like that honestly might not happen. It sounds like the Ball State game could even maybe be part of that process at this point.
Well, we'll have to wait till Saturday to find out about the quarterback situation for certain. We're not expecting an announcement from the coaching staff until game time. But as Zach just detailed, there could be two or even three, as Coach Wilson said, quarterbacks playing this weekend. So we'll just have to wait and see. For the latest updates on the quarterback situation as well as the rest of football camp as it continues to roll toward the season opener, check with InsideIndiana.com. For Zach Osterman, I'm Ed Magoni. Thank you for joining us as always on the Inside Indiana Report. We'll catch you next time.